The galaxy had grown silent. The once thriving interstellar civilizations that dotted the cosmos now cowered under the shadow of an unstoppable force: humanity. For centuries, alien species had waged wars among themselves with carefully crafted rules, codes of conduct designed to minimize collateral damage, preserve cultural heritage, and protect non-combatants. But humans? Humans didn't play by those rules. It wasn't malice or cruelty that drove them. It was survival. When Earth's resources dwindled to nothing in the late 21st century, humanity looked to the stars for salvation. What they found was not a welcoming universe, but one teeming with hostile empires and territorial overlords. The first contact between humans and the Vortaxi, a reptilian race known for their rigid adherence to galactic law, ended in disaster. The Vortaxi demanded tribute, citing ancient treaties they claimed applied to all sentient beings. Humanity refused, and when the Vortaxi fleet arrived at Earth's doorstep, humanity responded not with diplomacy, but with overwhelming force. That was 50 years ago. Now, every species in the galaxy knew the truth. Humans didn't have rules for war. Captain Illyra Vosk stared at the holographic display before her, her 6 eyes narrowing as she studied the data streaming across it. The Zentari Council had summoned her, an honor rarely bestowed upon commanders of her rank. But this meeting felt less like recognition and more like desperation. "They're coming," said Counselor Trenix, his voice trembling despite his attempts to mask it. "The humans are moving toward our border systems. We've tried everything: diplomacy, sabotage, even covert assassinations. But nothing slows them down." Illyra clenched her mandibles. She had seen firsthand what happened when humanity set its sights on something. Her own homeworld, Krylos, had fallen just 3 cycles ago. The human armada hadn't bothered with orbital bombardment or sieges. Instead, they'd deployed swarms of self-replicating nanobots that consumed entire cities within hours. By the time the Zentari Defense Forces arrived, there was nothing left to save, not even ruins. "What do you propose we do?" Illyra asked, though she already knew the answer. "We need you to lead a strike team behind enemy lines," Trenix replied. "If we can disable their command hubs, disrupt their supply chains, perhaps we can buy ourselves enough time to negotiate peace." "And if negotiation fails?" Illyra pressed. Trenix hesitated, then sighed. "Then we pray to the void that someone else will stop them before they reach us again." The infiltration mission began under the cover of darkness, or as close to darkness as space could offer. Illyra's squad consisted of 12 elite operatives, each equipped with cloaking devices and neural dampeners to evade human detection. Their target was a massive orbital station codenamed Erebus, the nerve center for human military operations in the sector. As they approached the station, Illyra couldn't help but marvel at its design. Unlike the sleek, organic curves favored by most alien architectures, Erebus was a jagged monstrosity of steel and glass, bristling with weapons turrets and sensor arrays. It was ugly, chaotic, and utterly terrifying, a perfect reflection of its creators. "Stay sharp," Illyra whispered, over the comms. "Remember, humans don't follow protocols. They'll improvise, adapt, and counterattack without hesitation." Her team nodded, their resolve hardened by fear. They breached the outer hull using plasma cutters and slipped inside undetected. The corridors were eerily quiet, lined with flickering lights and strange symbols etched into the walls. Illyra recognized, some of them from intercepted transmissions, warnings written in dozens of languages detailing the consequences of trespassing. To anyone else, it might have seemed like arrogance. To Illyra, it was a grim reminder of how far humanity would go to defend its territory. The team reached the central control room without incident, but as soon as they began disabling the systems, alarms blared throughout the station. Red lights, flashed, and automated defenses sprang to life. Human Marines poured into the chamber moments later, their armor scarred from countless battles. "Hold your ground," Elira shouted, raising her weapon. Her team returned fire, but the humans fought with a ferocity she hadn't anticipated. They used makeshift barricades, turned debris into cover, and coordinated their movements with uncanny precision. Even wounded soldiers continued fighting, refusing to surrender. One Marine caught Elira's attention, a towering figure clad in black armor adorned with crimson stripes. He moved like a predator, each step deliberate and calculated. When he spoke, his voice crackled through the comms with chilling clarity. "You should have stayed out of our way," he growled. "Now you'll learn why no one crosses humanity." Elira fired a burst of energy bolts at him, but he sidestepped effortlessly, returning fire with a barrage of bullets that forced her to take cover. His companions advanced relentlessly, pushing her team back toward the exit. Despite their training and technology, the Zentari operatives were losing. Hours later, Elira found herself alone, cornered in a maintenance tunnel. Her cloaking device was damaged, her weapons depleted, and her body riddled with injuries. She leaned against the cold metal wall, listening to the distant sounds of combat fading away. Her team was gone, either captured or dead, and she knew her fate wouldn't be much different. Footsteps echoed down the corridor. The armored human emerged from the shadows, his helmet visor reflecting the dim light. He raised his weapon, aiming it squarely at her head. "Why?" Elira rasped, her voice barely audible. "Why do you fight like this? You destroy everything you touch. Why can't you see the cost of your actions?" The human lowered his gun slightly, tilting his head as if considering her words. Then he knelt beside her, removing his helmet to reveal a face weathered by years of conflict. His eyes were hollow, haunted by memories too painful to forget. "We fight because we have to," he said softly. "Not because we want to. Your kind doesn't understand what it means to lose everything, to watch your home burn, your people die, your future slip away. We broke the rules because following them got us killed, and we'll keep breaking them until we're safe." He stood up, holstering his weapon. "You're lucky. I'm letting you live so you can tell your leaders what happens when they mess with us. Next time, we won't be so merciful." With that, he walked away, leaving Elira to contemplate his words. As she sat there, bleeding and broken, she realized the truth. Humanity wasn't the villain of this story. They were survivors, driven to extremes by circumstances beyond their control. But survival came at a cost, one that the rest of the galaxy might never recover from. And somewhere deep inside, Elira wondered if the real tragedy wasn't that humans didn't have rules for war. It was that no one else did either.